when you think about the number one guy that has to step up. Like I'll talk about Mikal Bridges just because I think he's the obvious one as the wing that might have a little more action. I think especially if Embiid plays, they got into this a little bit more in game one, putting the ball in Bridges' hands and actually letting him facilitate a little bit and get himself some opportunities in the pick and roll. I think we'll see more of that, especially if Embiid plays. I think we'll see Bridges be more exposed. Do you have any other do you have another opinion? Because I think that Bridges is the easy answer to say the guy that would step up, even though I know we've mentioned multiple times it's going to be a collective effort. Is there anyone else that just stands out to you as like a shining opportunity? And sometimes it might be an obvious answer like Jalen Brunson is going to have to step up and score more because you don't have OG. So what do you think, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, Miles McBride, we hit on earlier.
Yeah.
I really think that you nail it with Mikal Bridges. I wish I could give you some answer that, nobody's thinking about and is out of left field. But I don't think that, based on the structure of this team, that this is where it lies. It lies with McBride. I could see Jordan Clarkson playing a big role,
No doubt.
just the way he's played recently. But with Bridges, I mean, look, Mike Brown commended him for the work he did on both sides of the ball. We know what he was doing, who he was handling with Maxey defensively. Maxey not having a good second half at all. I think it was 3 for 9 with 3 turnovers. I think the injury played a factor there, but you still give Bridges credit. And then, if you're a Knicks fan, you've been, I'm sure, pulling your hair out of your head watching Bridges during the regular season. Like past 2 regular seasons, just kind of up and down, up and down. I mean, he hits that shot last night. To me, that was arguably the biggest shot of the game because
Yep.
it was still a game at that point, and he gave the Knicks a bigger cushion. It was a huge shot. I don't want to say his biggest shot as a Knick because obviously he did what he did last year against Boston, which was remarkable, but just a massive shot for a player who, you rewind the tape back to game 3 against the Hawks, was really struggling. But now here we are, had a great game 6 against Atlanta, and this is 2 straight against Philadelphia, where he's delivered really strong performances.
I was going to go right there, Ian, to thinking back to game 3 in Atlanta, which I think the nadir of Bridges' season was that point. And you were in Atlanta with the team in the locker room, Bridges talking about his struggles. And I remember talking after the show, or on one of the shows after that game, the Knicks were going to need Mikal Bridges. And it's one of the things that we said. And they know, especially in the playoffs, that he's going to be a part of what they do, not only defensively, but offensively, that they got him more involved. So I think it's clearly a credit to him. And I think the rest of the team that he's been able to bounce back from that. I thought the game 6 in Atlanta specifically was such a massive game for his confidence that he was just able to see the ball go through the hoop a lot. And I think sometimes for a guy like him, that's just insanely valuable. And he's been insanely valuable in the series too. And he's going to continue to be, even with the frustrating regular season. We know he's going to be so important for what they need to accomplish in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's always going to be judged fairly or unfairly by the 5 first-round picks that the Knicks gave up to get him here from Brooklyn. That's just going to be kind of tied to him for as long as he's in a Knicks uniform. And I think that, I don't want to say that, there's no way that he could become that valuable in this current team structure. Look at the hierarchy of the offense. It's Jalen Brunson, it's Karl Anthony Towns, it's OG Anunoby, and then it's Mikal Bridges. So he's your 4th option at most. And then, it's I think for him to be at his best, he fits in there. He finds ways to attack within the framework of the offense, and is effective in transition and defense. And I think that's the best Mikal Bridges that you'll get here with the Knicks. And people who look at the picks, they're always going to be frustrated because I don't think his production will ever match something what you would expect to get for 5 first rounders. But within the hierarchy of this team, if they continue to have success, he'll be a big part of it. And if they get to where they want to go, which is obviously getting to the finals, winning the finals, I'm sure he'll play a big role in that as well.
And if they do that, it would be worth every pick they gave up and then some. And they would certainly be the first to say it. I think a couple things, just more on Bridges, Ian. I always look, you mentioned him in transition, and then I always think it's that pull up jumper in the mid range, when he can hit that consistently, and when he's actually taking that in a game early on, I always think that's a good sign. We saw a little bit where he would get going early in the Atlanta series and then kind of disappear the rest of the game. But I think in this Philly series, as they continue, that's going to be huge. I have one other guy, Ian, that we didn't think about that could be stepping up. This question's from Evan Wexell. He says, how many minutes can Chalamet give us in place of OG?
He looked ready last night. Yeah, he'll be at the games regardless of whatever other function is going on Friday or Sunday, or I should say maybe home games. But yeah, he gets fired up on the sideline. You could tell that it's authentic for him, and also it's authentic for Ben Stiller. I mean, I don't know. I've seen, I guess, some people on social media questioning his fan credentials, which in and of itself is a silly thing to do. But Ben Stiller has been a Knicks fan since he was a kid, going to games since he was a kid, and so yeah, he shouldn't have to put his fan credentials out there, quote unquote. But to question it, I think is foolish. But yeah, maybe Chalamet, maybe Stiller, maybe get some Spike Lee off the bench. But yeah, that's I like that question from our friend over there.
I like all those guys, all friends. We might need a little more size. We'll have to see. We'll have to stack them all up against each other. Chalamet was hitting the old Amari Stoudemire pose yesterday, which is cracking me up.